Hey team, we have an Optoma GT1090 HDR, same as the Optoma ZH406ST. I believe we've got a bad power board in here, and there's no videos online of people tearing these apart. Used to watch a lot of Fix-It Frank's videos, and he did a lot of videos of the Optoma GT1080, the previous generation of this projector. So shout out to Frank for all those videos. I learned a lot from him. Anyway, so this projector, plug it in, light comes on, and you turn it on, and everything appears to function besides there's no light coming out, which is the main function. But it appears to boot up. I hear things spinning up in there. The blue light comes on. If you wait, it don't matter how long you wait, no light ever comes out of this. And once it boots up, you can hit the power button twice and it will turn off. So my belief is the main board is functioning. I tore this apart a couple of weeks ago trying to figure out what was the problem. There was something jiggling around in there, and I found a couple of these nuts just kind of jangling around in there. I didn't have a clue how they got in because before I opened it up, the seal was still intact. After looking at it for a while, it appears there's a little bit of room right here in front of the lens where something could have came in, and the guy that I bought this from, he had some loose hardware sitting around in the box for mounting for the projector. So anyways, we're going to tear this down, and I believe the problem is the power board, the ballast. I've got a new one of those, just came in today from Optoma. They were, it was about 160 bucks to get in. I hadn't even checked to see if it's the same one that's in there, but we're gonna find out. And regardless of if it fixes or not, there'll be a video on the internet of somebody taking one of these apart. So hopefully it'll be useful to somebody. Alright, so to take this apart, we need to remove a bunch of screws. There's one screw and it's under a sticker right here. I didn't notice it at first when I was trying to take this apart. It took me a minute, but the sticker here is just a seal so that they know if this projector's been taken apart. It'll void your warranty, so if you're concerned about warranties, you might want to skip that. We got one here. Three. Four. Five. Six. And then we've got two smaller screws right here at the front near the lens. And I believe that's it. Next is the fun part. You're going to need to unclip all the way around. I've got some of these guys that I use, and I've also got these little pry bars here. And I didn't clip everything back in whenever I put this together, so I'll be able to get this apart pretty quick. It is a real son of a bitch. I found it was easier to kind of start on the sides, and I did have to use a small flathead screwdriver to really get it going. It's the most difficult around the front here, and then the back around the input panels was the trickiest bit because it kind of goes down and then across. But let's see how long this takes me now. Hopefully it's not all clipped all the way back together. Oh, I think that's it. It took me like 30 minutes to get this the first time. Got one more over here, it looks like. I think I still have something rattling around in here as well. Alright, there we go. Got this loose. There will be one wire connecting the control buttons here, so careful you don't bust that. And I've got it open. So we have the button control board over here. It's the main board. Start taking this apart. So these little clips let me see if I can zoom this in a bit for you. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do this where y'all can see it, but these ribbon cables, the little plastic clip just pushes out a little bit, and then that loosens the connection. So it doesn't want to flip up, it just pushes out towards the ribbon cable. So I'm just gonna kind of, actually I think I used my fingernails last time. So that comes out, and then the ribbon cable loosens up. So the power board is at the bottom directly under here, so we need to disconnect everything from the main board. So we're gonna get on that. I'd recommend taking pictures of everything as you go along. I've got a lot of pictures of all of this stuff. It looks like these two go to the laser here. Be careful, you don't want to force anything and break it. Let me see if I can get a better angle on this for you. All right, so that's everything except for this one wire that's going to a speaker. All right, now all that is off. This is loose. And I'm going to put all these screws in here as I go along, so hopefully I can kind of keep up with the position. Okay, so to get this main board off, we've got this screw out already. We've got 1, 2, 3, And then only one of these need to come out. Maybe both of them? I think it was just this one on the right here that needed to come out. So okay. So now I believe this. Okay. Oh, of course. Forgot about these screws on the back. There's going to be one at each of the HDMI ports, and then I believe I had to take out these two hexes to get it out. Let's see here. Oh, no, okay. Here we go. Okay, so when you lift this up, there are two connections on the bottom, and I don't know if I can get you a good angle on that, but I'm going to reach under here and unhook these. If I can. It's a bit of a tight reach. Oh, see, with this board's a little loose, I want to leave it connected, so I'm going to put this screw back in here real quick. Here. I think this other one will be easier to get out first. You can see it's this one right here. You just need to squeeze it on the ends and it should pull out gently. There we go. And then I think that'll give me clearance. There we go. Now I can get this last one. There we go. All right, so there's our main board out, and it's got all of our input ports. All right, next we had a few screws. We got to get this whole plate off. You can see down here is where the it's our power board down here that we're trying to get to replace. Looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws to get this sucker out. I believe I was able to just kind of pop this out. It was kind of clipped in here a little bit on this side, so it was a little bit tricky to get this separated. So yeah, it's wanting to kind of move this panel as I do it. I don't believe there were any other screws to remove right here. Ah, that's right. I do need to remove these two little hex nuts on the RS232. Is that a serial port, I suppose? Let me get... hex driver out here. And that'll let you remove the serial port. Now maybe this thing will pop out. Okay, there we go. I just have to push from this side a little bit to get the ports out of the holes. And careful, careful. Kind of keep an eye on how some of these wires are routed into here. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. We need to, let's remove. Got this little white clip here. It's kind of holding the wires. I'm going to just pop it out, I believe. And those, and then there was one more here. Okay, I think we're loose. Careful, you don't want to tear any wires. Alright, we've got that off. Next we've got this little, I don't know if it's plastic or what. It's got a couple of wires routed through it. And it had this little, like it was kind of clipped into another similar piece down here. But it's kind of route your cables out of it. And it wasn't too much. Once I figured out this part and was able to get it off, it wasn't too much. Get the rest of it out. And now that we're here, this is about as far as I made it before. I'm not sure if I want to finish removing the rest of this black piece or not. But this down here is our power board. And it was really tough to see. I'm not even sure if I'll be able to see it on the camera or not. But I noticed a couple of parts where those nuts that were floating around, these guys, where they may have came in here and caused a short. One spot, it was a little dark kind of right in here. And another spot on the edge of this, I don't know, I'm not much of an electronics guy. Set a capacitor. I noticed a couple of dark marks, and on one of these nuts you can kind of see where it was black a little bit. So that's what led me to believe that one of these nuts caused a short. So it's a complete guess to me, not being an electronics guy, that the power board is the problem, but it's what I think it is. I was able to get this replacement power board from Optoma. It was about 160 bucks. I just called up their customer support, and I've not even opened this yet to check if it's the same power board, but it should be. They told me it was. Yeah, looks like the same exact one. A little bit extra glue, but they were kind of liberal with a lot of the glue anyway. So that's our power board. Looks like we've got a little bit of work here to do. So we've got cables connected up here. There's 3 of them here. So we've got a ground coming out down here. This is another ground. Maybe, who knows. So we've got a plug here. We've got this here going to the power socket. I'd like to get this piece of, I don't know if it's fabric or plastic. I guess it's plastic out of the way. Not sure how to yet. Anyway, I think I'm going to mess with this for a minute, pause the video, and get back to you once I've figured out a few things so we're not wasting a bunch of memory. We'll see in a few. Okay, we are back. I've got a game plan for the next step for taking this apart. First off, I removed, this little speaker was just kind of sitting in here. It was already unplugged from before. I moved that out of the way. And I believe to get this off and even this whole panel, I think I'm going to need to unscrew the power board. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. There's one in this bottom corner. There's 2 where the power plug connector is, here and here. There's 1 here in the middle, and then there's 2 up here at these corners here and here. Oh, it looks like my beard's getting in the way. Anyway, I started to unscrew a couple of these and thought, oh yeah, I better start the video back. So go ahead and get all these out. And I realized a few minutes ago that I probably should have shown a better close-up of when I was disconnecting these ribbon cables from the main board earlier. So I'll kind of give a better close-up whenever I'm putting this back together later. The power connector cord. Hopefully. All right, we're back. Hopefully this is a little bit better of an angle on the power supply here. So I was kind of messing around and I found I could just kind of lift from this little heat sink here. And it looks like the whole board's pretty loose. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and, this is kind of a short wire going to this ground screw here. So let's go ahead and take that off. And then these 2 are loose on it, so I don't need to worry about them. This one is decently long, and I don't believe there's any other wires connected, so I believe I'm safe to just kind of lift this guy out of here. Okay, there's a little metal kind of wire thing that's going around the power cables where they're coming in from the plug. And so I just kind of moved that. Yeah, and it looks like we're free. We've got this one plug right here that's connected. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect. Squeeze in on the sides. Gently pull it out. It's not wanting to be, there we go. All right, so now I believe this whole board is loose. And we're free. Zoom this out a little bit here. All right, are we in frame? Yeah, we're in frame. Oh, also notice I grabbed one of these little clips just to clip this out of the way while I was doing all that. That's been pretty handy to do. Let's have a look here, see if there's anything like obvious, like, fuck, the spots I mentioned earlier that looked a little burnt. There's one spot right up under here. It's definitely burnt now that I've got it out in the light where you can see it better. And then there was a spot right here, and you can see where some of that glue or whatever is burnt. So yeah, there's definitely like 2 rough looking spots on here, and there may even be more. Let's flip this over. See, I'm not really able to tell anything right here. And then down just a bit. I don't know. I don't really see anything on this side, but I feel like there was a screw kind of floating around just fucking up shit in here. But we got this sucker out. And I suppose about ready to swap these out. Re-angle the camera a little bit. Let me get this guy. All right, here is our shiny new power board. Yeah, look in here, there's some kind of black glue on both of these. It does look like this melted a bit. But I'm not seeing the burn marks in here where it is on this one. Can I compare some of this other stuff? I'm just curious. Yeah. All right, I'm satisfied. All right, so it looks like we need to move our power clip over, which is clipped in here, and then just these two cords. And oh, it kind of looked like it was going to be a little bit more before when I first started looking at this. But we'll get this white clip off. Looks like it's just one of these. A little tight fit. I hate to remove this to pull on. There we go, there we go. All right, we're in business. Hopefully all this is staying in frame for everybody. Okay, that is in. We have to connect our ground. We have to connect that one that was here. Transferring it straight over instead of setting it down. Otherwise I might try to put this in the wrong way or something stupid. This guy, just gotta be real gentle. This is the outside. So yep, wrong plug. You almost got me. Okay. And I think we're done with this guy. I never did try to figure out how this tray back here fits in, but yeah. There's a bug in there. I take these projectors to set up installations at events, and so these are almost exclusively ran outdoors, and you wouldn't believe the amounts of dust that I get. This projector I haven't actually used very much. It's more of a backup projector, but all right, I think we're ready to try to maneuver this sucker back in here. I'm going to want to have this guy connected. And I've noticed they'll have these connectors marked, like there's a black marker line. So that would let you know, you can look at, there's a black marker line right here, you can see. Instead of the sides with the black marker line, it lets you line up which way is the correct way to put these back in. And they've done these all across this whole board. All right, so got that guy in. And I believe everything else can, wait, let's maneuver this from my screw holes. Oop, close. This side's about in. This side needs to come up. Back. Oh, too far over. We were so close. Alright, that looks good. I think all our holes are lined up here. Oh, I've got some more thermal paste on my finger. See how this frame looks. Looks alright. We can probably zoom her in just a bit. Be right back on in a second. Alright, we are lined back up. Now let's see if my system for figuring out which screw goes where will hold up. This was our ground. Wait, yeah. Okay, our black and white's power connector wanted to be here. This little wire kind of just like a little hook of wire. It kind of holds this in place. Here we go. All right, and then we've got our ground, which was this little guy, I hope. By the way, this is my first video ever taking electronics apart. I've always been curious about them. I'm no electricity guy. I play around with little chips and stuff and like to tinker a lot. I do art installations at events like I talked about. And so along with that comes quite a bit of tinkering. It's fun. It's a good mix of physical and digital work. This guy, got it. And I'm going to get the screw at the opposite corner next. You know, it occurs to me, there was something else rattling around in here that I mentioned earlier that I never located. It seems like I feel like it's under near where this power board is. I should take this back out real quick. I'm going to do it. In fact, I'm going to stop the video. And we are back. I found the rattling sound. It was not under the power board. It was another one of these nuts. I'm going to text that guy telling me not leave these nuts in projector cases anymore because they can find ways to get in. So we've got the power board back in now. And time to put it all back together. I believe this one cable was routed through this. This one was routed through this hole. And that went around. These guys are just in the way. So this kind of clicks down here. And then the tab was somehow, I don't know if I'm even going to be able to get this tab back in. It doesn't seem super mission critical though if I do not. And least give it a shot. Oh, hey, I think that's it. Maybe. Yeah, fuck it. I think it'll be fine. Alright, now we do everything we did before, but in reverse. Let's see, speaker. Alright, so a couple of things. We need to remember we have this connector to plug back in and this guy, the serial port and I don't know, this power from the main board. Those will plug in on the bottom. Another thing to keep in mind is we have my cat. This is Scoops. Say hey to everybody, Scoops. This piece right here is going to want to plug in on this board right here. So make sure you're keeping that lined up, and it's a little tricky. Very gently press this down. Make sure this connector gets seated well. I made sure all the holes were lined up really well before I even started pushing down over here. It feels pretty well seated. I think we're good. Get all these screws back in. Now, can I remember which ones go where? This one. Pretty sure went right here. We had this little ribbon cable. And oh yeah, I wanted to show you all the function of this ribbon cable a little bit closer. Let me see if I can get a good angle. So that's going to go in there. All right, I'm going to zoom us in. On this ribbon cable right here, so you can kind of get a good idea how these work. And so I've pushed this in there. It's got kind of blue tape on the top part. And the way it works, you can kind of get it lined up, and there'll be a channel for it. You'll feel, and it'll slide into place. You just want to be really gentle, but this clip right here, it kind of pulls in and out from either side. And so to get this seated, and I'm going to do this better here in a second, but you'll just get it in there and then push these closed. And I'm going to do it with my finger. And that's that. And so then when you're taking this apart back from the beginning of the video, you would pull out a little bit on this side, pull out a little bit on this other side. Just kind of wiggle each side until it's loose, and then it comes right out just like that. So that's how those connectors work. And you do want to be really gentle with those. If you're having to force anything, you're doing it wrong. Alright, I think that's everything except for this ribbon cable here that goes to the top of the case, which we'll get in a second. I wanted to kind of poke around, make sure all these connections were seated well before I go start putting stuff back together. And I guess I'll be able to, I don't really want to put this whole top back on. Yeah, I'll be able to put it on and still test everything. Solid, solid, solid. You're good. You're good. I don't know if these guys were, yeah, I believe they were originally running under this. I think that one was like that. I think good on most of this. This looks like it's supposed to be like that. Yeah, I think I'm clear. I don't see any screws left besides the outer case screws, which is wild. I think I may have gotten it all back together without having to backtrack too much. This guy has plenty of length. Twist it around. Find that sweet spot. There it is. That should be everything. Okay, I'm not gonna like push all this back down. I'm just trying to see if it works, and if it does, then we're done. I guess we're done either way, because there's not much more to record if this didn't work. But we did the whole breakdown, pretty much put it all back together. There's no more gotchas. So, plug this guy in. Alright, our power light came on. Moment of truth, did I spend 160 bucks? Oh, I see a lamp light. I think we have fixed the problem. Wow. Well, thanks all y'all for following this journey with me. It's been fun. Let me know if you have any questions. Catch you next time.